You have this relationship now with Andy Murray, who, of course, plays today in the second semi-final against Roger Federer. How did this relationship come about?
Well, interestingly, Andy and his team actually approached us over a year ago. He's always been interested in investing. He bought this hotel a few years ago where him and Kim got married. And he stumbled across crowdfunding and did his research. And after about a year of due diligence, we were kind of put through the ringer. He looked at all the platforms. We were very proud when he chose us to be his partner in crowdfunding.
And he's on the advisory board. What does that mean on a day-to-day basis?
Well, essentially, Andy's relationship with us is a strategic relationship, one part of which is the advisory board. Andy will be, and his team will be providing strategic help for the management team with a particular focus on wearable health technology, which we think is going to be a big play in the next few years.
And these are the types of companies he's interested, isn't he? Sport tech, as he likes to call it.
Absolutely. And these are sort of companies that are very much looking at helping consumers with their health monitoring through apps and through the iWatch or whatever it may be, but also athletes and monitoring performance and monitoring health whilst they're playing. But he's also interested in investing outside of the health and wearable technology, and he's looking at the tech space as well as any other investments that may catch his eye on Seedrs.
And I gather he's invested in a few companies, one of them a health drinks maker, on the advice of his nutritionist, because they like the drink so much. Can you give us an idea of what he's invested in?
So he's invested in a couple of things sort of stealthily before this relationship was announced. I can't really talk too much about them for commercially sensitive reasons, but one of them is a nutritional health company which actually produces vending machines for bespoke health drinks, which is quite interesting. So you go up to the machine and you say, I want to lose weight, or I want to build muscle, and this is my details of my physiology, and it will dispense the perfect drink. So that's one example of there's an obvious fit. But he's also actively looking right now. There's one that's caught his eye that he's looking at. But he very much wants to do his own due diligence, and he wants to look at the campaigns and look at the business and make his own decision. And obviously he's been quite busy recently, so it's going to be a few
Does
more
that represent a new breed of sportsmen who, as you say, want to do due diligence, really take an interest in the companies they're investing in, rather than just handing over their money to money managers?
I think that's right, and I think it's not just sportsmen. I think it represents a new breed of investor who doesn't just want to hand over their money, like you say. They want to actually take control of their finances and actually want to see where their money goes. The thing about Seedrs is it's all self-directed, so you choose the business, the team that you want to invest in. Seedrs will take care of all the paperwork, but you can monitor and help that company grow. Whereas I think if you give it in the past to fund managers, it sort of goes off into the fund world and into the ether where no one really knows where it goes, and a whole bunch of fees get taken off and you might get some back in the future. But I think it also represents a general shift in sort of disintermediation in all aspects of life. And we're seeing it with Uber, we're seeing it with the Airbnb, we're seeing it where people actually realise that they can actually take more control over what they want to do.
Can you give us an idea how much Andy Murray is going to invest? Because I read that he wants to invest in roughly 40 companies in the next 4 or 5 years.
That's probably about right, actually.
Yeah.
And we're a high-risk asset class, but also with the potential for high reward. And we always say to any investor that diversified portfolio is key. You should be spreading your investment across a number of investments. But also, you shouldn't be putting your entire net worth into this as an asset class. This is very high risk, and it really should be the top 10% of your investable wealth that you should be dedicating to this asset class. And depending on how Andy does, I very much hope he does the same.
And you have 230 investments, is that right? Companies you financed
That's
at
right,
Seedrs.
yes.
What's the sort of monthly rate right now, and is it increasing?
So it's increasing very quickly. We launched about 3 years ago. We took a number of months to get our first investment over the line. We had a handful of investors, which we sort of scraped off the streets, like any good startup. And now we're funding up to about £4 million a month. And we funded a total of 230 companies, I think it is, with the vast majority of those being funded in the last year or so.
And how many go bust? What percentage of companies that are financed?
So the general rule of thumb is that they say about 7 in 10 of these sort of very early stage businesses will go bust. I'm not sure whether that's how accurate that is, but we're seeing a number going bust already, the first sort of vintage from 3 years ago. And there are a handful that are falling by the wayside, and that's perfectly normal, which is why you have to diversify. But we're also seeing some going on and getting venture capital money and many millions of pounds of follow-on investment. And some of them in that portfolio are looking like they're going to do very, very well.
So the dream for you, Murray wins, and he mentioned Seedrs on centre court.
Absolutely, that would be fantastic.